Oh, wow. Okay. Well, my name's Teresa and I'm a grateful recovering addict. All right. You would think, sharing and, telling my story would get easier and easier and easier. It does in a way, but when you graduate from some place that has helped you, it's different. It truly is different. So, how I got here, let's see, I would say now 10 years ago is when my journey began. But before that, I came from, a household with two parents, a younger sister, and, didn't have anything, I was straight edge, I guess you could say. Straight edge. I was goody two shoes, obeyed every single rule. Cops were my friends. They still are today. But I know the rule and I ain't no snitch. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a loyal one. I'm one of those loyals, all right? You got my back, I got your back to the day I die. But anyway, so I went to high school and I'm adopted. I was adopted at 3 days old. I found out when I was 8. So to carry that for until now, but the difference is then I was ashamed. My mom was complete white. My dad is Hispanic. So everything was like, oh no, I'm more like my dad, and I held on to that for so long. And I got made fun of because of my color, my mom, but she knew Spanish. So in a way it was kind of funny because, when we got to like different places, she'd be like, don't say anything. I want to see what they say behind my back. And then she'll be like, excuse me? No, blah, blah, and talk clear as day back in Spanish, right back to them. And they would be like, sorry, and so that kind of like, made me a little bit stronger from who I was. And I, me and my mom were like this, and today through Fred Brown, I have actually been able to talk about her and not hold a resentment, not get emotional when I cry, talking about her or just any hard feelings, because I've learned through the program, my side of the street's clean. I've done my part. I've told her what, I had to say. It balls in her court, but so, as a Hispanic family, we drink, party, whatever occasion. There doesn't have to be an occasion actually, whatever, get the family going, let's go drink up. And it was acceptable to my mom and my dad, I drank with them so they could keep their eye on me, but started maybe when I was little. I actually have a picture when I was maybe my son's age, Budweiser, just like this, so guess it starts there. And beer, really, I never liked beer itself. I've always had to mix it with some type of accent, and I love my spices, and I think that's what, caused my high blood pressure and, sweating over here. But hey, that's okay, because I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I used to hide behind why I was sweating because, those that are addicts, what comes with sweat, the using. So when I first got clean, I actually started taking care of myself by going to the doctors, and I found out that I have high blood pressure. Lo and behold, that's the reason why I sweat so much. And when I get nervous, it just, automatically comes up, and coffee doesn't help either, But hey, for me, this calms my nerves. It helps me somehow relax. I would have, like I was just explaining to another friend of mine. I like to drink something else, but I can't bring that here because it's not part of recovery, and it is your energy drinks. You're not supposed to drink them, and but substitute it with coffee. That's why there's coffee in all the rooms, But anyway, so with my parents, it was able to drink, and then as I got older, as in a sense of 10 years old, when I would go camping with my cousin and her mom, my mom would actually go down to liquor store, get me one of those Smirnoff 5 6-pack, for me and my cousin. I thought I was cool. I was like, yeah, I'm this age, I got my Smirnoff, woohoo. Yeah, and then it just gradually escalated to there. I asked my mom to buy me MD 2020s, oh God, it's been so long, I even looked at alcohol. BJs and stuff like that, so it was like, okay. And then as I got older and older, it just escalated more and more and more. Going to high school, it got even more out of control. I was this cheerleader for all 4 years. So as a role model, You know, you're supposed to be showing your other classmates what to do and what not to do, lead by example. Well, this cheerleader over here brought water bottles, sealed up the cap again, but it was vodka in it. You know, so working now with the steps with my sponsor, I can finally let that all freaking go. You know, because holding girls up in the air, and I mean, an example, like I would have a girl like up here like this. So yeah, it's where that's where I finally now see that my higher power has had my back from the beginning of when I was born. You know, watching me, guiding me through hell, because I was teased, I was taunted, I was bullied, and still today I'm still bullied, you know? And it's sad to say I'm bullied by other addicts as well because of my son. That's not stopping me, because mommies need to recover too. You know, and I've had people close dear to me have my back, because out of a meeting, I cried. I was told, if your son acts up again, you're gonna have to leave. I was like, and he started to continue to explain what, and I was like, you know what, thank you, I'm out of here. Took my son and I grabbed him, and everyone's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm not doing this right now, no, leave me the F alone, I'm out of here. And then people started coming up to me, they were like, what happened? And I explained. And they're like, don't let anybody scare you away, push you away from a meeting. Because single moms, parents, dads need their recovery too, because without me being able to recover, I can't take care of that little one right there. He's my pride and freaking joy. I want to tear out my hair, but I would not trade that for anything. My 8 years in the street, living underneath freeways, like literally, I did that whole thing. You want to talk about street life? Those that went to their own houses, sorry, bro. Talk to a real one that stayed on the freaking street. Nowhere to go, living in and out of tents, under the freeways, on the side of the street, pissing, yes, in buckets. I did that because I had nowhere to go, because I went that low in my addiction. I had a daughter that I did use before, but once I found out I was pregnant with her, I stopped cold turkey. I stopped cold turkey at 11 weeks. Didn't use at all whatsoever, gave birth to her, she was fine, had her for 6 months, and the father's ex-girlfriend came into the picture, took her, begged him to allow them to take her on a trip, while me and him, got moved up, because we were supposed to move to Big Bear, and afraid of me, was afraid that she was gonna come beat me up and everything. I said, okay. I still have to work on that with my sponsor. I wish I would have stood my ground. And that was 8 years ago. She is now 8.5. Last time I saw her, she was 7 months. But the people I'm staying with now who gave me my baby shower, and they still say that what they did was wrong. After my case closes with him in 5 months, I'm getting my freaking daughter back, where she deserves to be. But after that, I spiraled downhill, starting using way more. I was stealing from other people. I used my innocence to my advantage. I guess sold myself in a sense where I sold everything that I had, that I was given, because a girl like me out in the streets did not pay for anything. That is not something I want to flaunt, that oh, look at me. No, I actually hated that. In some way, I tried to give back. It never worked. It ended up getting me more of what I actually was trying to get away from. And then started using IV. I was using the syringe for about 5 years. I was so downhill where I dropped to where I was using kid sizes. I was at girls, I think 15 or 14. So anybody knows like how young that is? That's like an elementary, early middle school size. I was sick. I was really sick. I thought I was the best thing ever, but I then, ended up having 2 abscesses on my leg that where it just got out of control, and you would think that would lead an addict to stop. No. I was like, okay, let's try the other leg. Let's try another arm, and it just got to the point where I literally was a pincushion. I kept poking and poking and poking and poking, and it got to the point where my son's father actually was like, you know what, you need to stop. You're gonna kill yourself. I was like, no, I got it. He would then start taking my needles and hiding them, and I got mad, so I'd call, get my other friend who was using, I'd use their needle over and over and over again. And I am grateful that I did not catch anything. I am living here, I'm breathing, and the scars that I have are just reminders, because I have to call a specialist now if I need blood drawn. God forbid anything happens. Sorry. If anything happens to me, I'm scared that they're not going to find a vein. And each of my children that I've had to have over 6 blood transfusions. I've lost that much blood. And each of my children almost killed me on top of it. So we're betting 1,000, but it's where I've learned now that my higher power has me living on earth for a reason. And that reason is to share the message of, just because I've been through a whole bunch of crap, that it's okay. It's okay. I'm not saying it's okay from what has happened to me, because I'm a survivor of many things. Today and now, I'm a survivor of addiction. I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I'm a survivor of mental illness. You name it. I'm a walking, living person that has lived through hell. Blood, sweat, and tears. But I've chosen to take the path of recovery, not for myself, but for him as well. But first and foremost, it's where I had my other son. I have not met him. I found out I was pregnant with him when I was 7.5 months pregnant. I was using IV, and I think it's because of the guilt that I was using so heavily with him that I just didn't want to fight, and that caused me spiraling down even more. And then when I got pregnant with this bundle of joy up here, I actually was sick and tired of being sick and tired living on the streets. He's a product of the pandemic, which means he was conceived during the pandemic. I'm sorry, I'm just going through my head of what I went through, and how I got here was, I guess the father got into some trouble. He told me to go get my car. And next thing you know, I hear sirens, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I see 6 patrol cars, 3 SUVs, a drone, and a helicopter, and 3 or 4 undercovers. I still don't know what the hell he did. I don't want to know, because that's not my stuff. And I actually went to Torrance PD, and I actually went and asked for the officers that came and took me to the hospital that day, February 26th of 2021. Because that day pushed me to get my life together. Because in hell was I going to let DCFS and anybody take one of my kids again. And because of that day, I told on myself, I said I had smoked out of a bong, and it might have been laced with some methamphetamine. And they're like, okay. And I thought I was going to jail for child neglect, child endangerment. But maybe that's what I needed. But because I had no record, I have nothing on me, there was nothing in my car, they just held me at the hospital. 7 days later, me and baby, when baby was born, March 4th of 2021, we both tested negative for every single thing. I would have been able to take him home. I would have been able to take him home, but I had 2 other cases. That's what opened up the third. And so he was born a month early, so he was a preemie. I still think that they induced me and they popped the bag because he came way too soon. He was perfectly fine. But anyways, he ended up coming March 4th at 3:30 in the morning. And when they told me he was going to be in the NICU, I was like, all right, I'm not going back. You know, hell, I'll just live in the hospital, because for all they know, I had a place to go. So I just camped out in the hospital, because when you're a mom, you can, use the big room or a room next to him. So there was a shower, everything. And so I visited him every single day until somehow they removed him for an emergency replacement. That killed me. That killed me again, because they took my child without telling me. I went to the hospital, they said he was removed for emergency placement. I wanted to curse. I think I did when I was outside of the hospital. So I get credit there. I didn't curse at them. But I was cursing and swearing and not again. And so I worked with LASA for the 8 years I was out on the street. I called up my friend and he said, well, if you haven't used, I really can't help you. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm trying to get off the streets. I'm trying to turn my life around. You can't help me because I'm not using, I'm not drunk, I'm not, as they say, mentally ill, but actually show it. And he's like, unfortunately, yeah. I'm like, so what do I have to do to get into a program? You have to be high. And that right there, I was pondering it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Because as of February 26th, I had not taken anything. So we're down, February, all of March, half of April. And I was sick and tired of just, sleeping. And then just everything was coming back to me, because, when you're first getting clean, that stuff races in your head, like, this is going to happen. I was getting away from somebody that had, already taken advantage of me, and he knew everything where I was, and all that was just coming to me, and I was scared, and no one could help me. I had no family, I had no friends. And so I was like, you know what, fine. You want me high, then fine. So I took that bold move. April 13th, I took 2 hits out of a bong, called him up. Okay, I did it. Where can I meet you so you could take me to a program? And he's like, okay, well, we could go here. So I went to 3 different programs that day, because I was only detoxing from methamphetamine and no alcohol in my system. They couldn't take me because there's no, what's that word? Why am I drawing? Thank you. No withdrawals practically from methamphetamine. So I was effed again. I'm like, are you kidding me? Luckily, he put me in a hotel room. He's like, we'll figure this out again tomorrow morning. I'm like, okay, fine. So April 14th, I didn't take anything or whatever. I go to, he's like, there's a place in Pomona. I'm like, all right, let's go. Out of the area, I won't have to worry about anybody, whatever. I get into ARC. That place has helped me. We went through hoops and ladders, everything. I was seeing my son through the videos because the person couldn't bring him up there, which I actually found out now that she had every right, and by legally, she had to have had him up there somehow, some way. But I was there for 4 months. Now, excuse me for this next part, because I will cry. Graduated from Pomona, 4 months, residential. I then, went to a home with women and children out in Pomona. Did maybe about 4 months there, but it was just too much of a drive because my son was here in the South Bay and I didn't have a car. So then I found this other place in South Central. It was barely being up. And the lady told me I couldn't go to meetings. I couldn't have my son over. I couldn't go to my visits. I had to do what she wanted me to do when she wanted me to do it. It was co-ed and people were using, and I was like, I can't do it. I was starting to feel the isolation in my room and in my bed. And I called my sponsor and I was like, I can't do it. I'm gonna go back out because one of the guys was using IV, and that is my thing. That is my thing. And she's like, you know what, hold on, I got something for you. And I barely had my sponsor a couple months. And she's like, you know what, your sponsee's sister, Sunshine, works for a program. And she called people up, and you have a place to go. You just have to make the appointment tomorrow morning. And I was like, all right, for that day, I will forever be grateful for Sunshine and Fred Brown, because it was Liz that took the intake from Sunshine, that took it, that I called her for. And then I talked to Amanda. When you get clean and you have people helping you, you will never forget their names. And then I started my recovery even more with Fred Brown for the next 6 months. I was at the house in Bonita, and I did everything that I was supposed to. Every single thing, every freaking letter. I lie, not every letter. I got to maybe 7 letters, only because since I was adopted, I had to do one to my mom, my birth mom, my dad, and my birth dad. Those were really hard. And that is when I say I'm able to talk about my mom now, is because of those letters. I was able to tell how angry I was at each and every single one of them, and finally let it all out and be okay, because I wouldn't be judged. And they wanted me to give every effort that I had in those letters. And I say I almost got through all of them was because then I couldn't sit down and do classes. I had my son I had to go visit. I had a DCFS to go test for. I had, I wanted to do something more. So as I was about to exit, I ended up picking up a job. I started working at Terranea as a valet. Woo-hoo, nice cars, man, nice cars. Woo, I loved it, man. The tips weren't that bad either. But it was conflicting between my groups, because I still had to take a couple more groups. Gotcha, Matt. And when I had to take a couple groups, or else I would have to been asked to leave. I wasn't gonna leave the place that kept me clean. I loved the house I was at. I loved that I got to see my sponsee sister, that I barely see now, but I still love her. But it's where, I honestly did not want to go. I did not want to go. I really didn't. And I'm still waiting for that phone call when the mother in me, kind of gets up and running. Mother in me, But anyways, hint, hint. No, it's because, from where, without Fred Brown, because then I ended up doing the aftercare program. After I left the house, I went to aftercare. And then I think I went to aftercare, because I knew this worked. Fred Brown worked. It worked for me. If it worked for me, I know it can work for somebody else, even if it's just one for other person. It's showing that it does work. And I know that I see faces here that I see on the outside at meetings. It works. That's why that's why there's meetings called Alumni, for a reason, because we stay clean, and it's where now I have an amazing job. I work at the happiest place on earth. I really do. Just my son's diaper bag gives you a hint on where I work. Mickey Mouse is my boss. Yeah. Who would have ever thought? I love that place. I'm almost with a year with them, coming up in June. Yeah, so I'm excited with that. But when did you get a car? But it's not only that, but because I stayed with the program, because I got a sponsor, because I got myself into meetings, I did what I was asked to do. I trusted the process, which was freaking hard for me, because, Teresa likes to run her own program, but because of that, I was able to get my son full custody March 15th. I just celebrated my 2nd year birthday. You know, and it's already been a month that I've had him full time, and it seems like a century already. You know, but I wouldn't trade anything in the world for it, because if I keep it up and I continue to do what I'm doing by keeping one foot in front of the other, going to meetings, talking to my sponsor, working the steps, and sharing my experience as in the 12 step asks us to do, September 23rd, I will have people off my back and I can do what I want to do. You know, which would actually just to relax, honestly, not have that extra baggage that I caused myself. I realize now I don't have no one to blame but myself. I take full responsibility, which is why I am continuing to test for DCFS twice a month, doing errands on buses, taking him with me. He goes to early Head Start, you know, so he's, you know, where I'm, you know, I go to meetings, even though I had this mishap, I'm still going no matter what, because in order for me to not go, I have to be 6 feet under. You know, you're not going to take my seat. As they say, hold on to your seat. I'm holding on to mine for dear life. You know, my son has his seat next to me because I did use with him, so he does have that gene already in him. So each birthday that he celebrates, that's another birthday that he's clean, you know. And I'm going to finish with this. If those of you that have any doubt in yourself, if no one's told you, I trust you, I believe in you, that you can do it. If I could do it with everything going against me, you can too. Take some numbers, get a sponsor. If you don't want a sponsor, find some people that you can talk to, honestly, because without the support that I got from these rooms, I honestly wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have that bundle of joy, chaotic little one, you know. My bundle of joy, man. I am still in shock that I have them. Still in shock, but you know what, just hold on to your seat, everybody, and you know, just take it one day at a time, 1 second at a time, if that's what it takes, you know, because it is worth it. It really is worth it in the end, and I do have a better life today. I truly do. Thank you for letting me share.